Have you heard about this personal and professional podcast?
Coaching in Session
with your host, Michael Rearden.
So this one is going to be one of the unique ones because when I'm writing articles and I'm getting ready to present them to you on the podcast, it's more than just me writing out some information and saying, hey, take this and you're going to be good. Because it's almost like a book. And I mean, I probably have enough blogs and articles on the website to have like 3 or 4 different books. But today we're just going to be talking about today's blog, and that's going to be talking about prosperity versus abundance. During that time when I was writing this, I was faced with a conundrum. Is this really mindset? Because there is a difference between mindset and lifestyle, or mindset and taking action, or mindset and career. Now, of course, there's going to be similarities, but there's also going to be the aspect of achievement and the aspect of results. If you know anything about me, if you know anything about my coaching, I love results. Not so much only because it makes me feel good, but because it empowers the coachee, the client. Because when they start to see progress, now the wheel's starting to move, right? People are starting to see, whoa, I did this, and they have a sense of accomplishment, and they move so much more fluid. And that fluid is basically where we want to be. But we need to have different mindsets for different aspects in life. So, prosperity and abundance, which one should we choose? Of course, if we pick mindset, abundance is the win. But if we pick lifestyle and career, prosperity is going to probably take the wheel. So I wrote this blog here, Prosperity versus Abundance. And basically, the title says it all, choosing the path to true success. Because when we're trying to have success in our life, abundance can make us feel successful, but prosperity is going to have so much more merit behind it. Now, of course, I separated into a couple of points. Number one, measurable progress. 2, security and stability. 3, empowerment. And 4, personal growth. And those are going to be our talking points for today. And we're only going to be focusing on the aspect of prosperity because prosperity is going to be something that might be tangible for us to touch. We bought the house, we bought the car, we have the nice clothes. And this is a very different aspect to coaching, right? Because if you think about it, shouldn't mindset coaching be we know better and we shouldn't be going out and buying luxury cars and we shouldn't be going out and buying big mansions and yachts and stuff like that? But the reality is you get to live whatever type of life that you want and there's no restrictions to that. I know sometimes people can say, well, if you are living such a humble life and you're living like the monks and you're in the monasteries and you're meditating all day, and you have one garment of clothes. And I mean, if that's how you want to live life, go for it. But at the end of the day, you get to create what type of lifestyle you want for yourself. And I have found that prosperity is going to help you create that lifestyle a lot more readily. Now, abundance is going to make you feel pretty good. It's going to make your mind nice and strong. But as sometimes we do have to go into the real world a little bit. We can't just simply say, well, hopeful wishing and things like that, because this came to me from a client, and a client was like, self help doesn't work with me. Like it's nice and stuff to dream and hope and like I want good in my life, but this is not helping, right? Because anyone can listen to the podcast and take no action. Anyone can read one of the blogs and take no action. Anyone can read a personal development book or self-help book or meditation book or a book about journaling or a book about finances, or it doesn't matter what type of book you read, but it doesn't mean that book's going to have any effect on you. Did you just waste, I don't know, how long does it take you to read that book, that time in your life for something that is not even meaningful and significant for you? Now, of course, if we look at the latter, I would say it's better to read a book or an article or something that has some benefit to you because it plants the seed. And that's what we want. We want to plant the seed. And the seed can grow. It doesn't have to grow. It depends on if you want to water it. And if you decide to water that seed, great. That book wasn't for naught. But if you don't do anything with it, it's the same thing as you going on social media and going through TikToks or reels and shorts and stuff, and you're just swiping and watching things for hours on end. You wasted an hour of your life. You wasted an hour toward progress that could have been towards something better. So we look at the first one, measurable progress, and prosperity provides clear, measurable benchmarks for success. Because what is that for you? I say you can track your financials, you can set specific goals, you can give yourself the results in your mind that you would like to have become reality. If you want that house, let's make it happen. If you want a award-winning dog or something, like there is a dog, and I know this is a tangent, but this is so important. The dog was worth like $100,000. It was like a German Shepherd. It won all these awards. It was in magazines or something. And it was funny because I just went to go to the pastry shop to get some cakes or something for an event. And this lady had a dog. And I remember just like, going into the store. And I was like, whose dog is that in the car? Because the dog was beautiful. Basically, she was like, oh, it's my dog. And I said, can I pet your dog? And then so sure enough, now I'm outside petting this dog. And let me tell you, who's the best boy in the world. And my mom has a very nice dog, but this dog, takes the win, right? And rightfully so. He's winning all these awards. He's doing all these great things. And, I'm sure he's living the best life he can be right now. But is that abundance for him? No, it's prosperity, right? Because that's measurable. He has his, picture on a magazine. He has his first place trophies. And you have to even ask yourself, is that a measure of someone or a person or a thing or whatever? That you have to have this status. Oh, well, if you're not number one, then you're number zero, whatever. If you're not first, you're last or whatever, right? You know the saying. The reality is we get to choose what type of feeling comes with prosperity, and then we measure it. Because if the measure of prosperity for us is what type of car we drive, what type of house we live in, what type of car or clothes we are going to don ourselves with, on a daily basis, it could say something about us. But then at the end of the day, is it going to matter if that's what you want, right? We do have to get into some work, right? And this is where mindset comes in because we're looking at prosperity and abundance. Abundance is going to be looking at you have achieved these prosperous things in your life, but is it fulfilling you? Is it making you feel full, right? Abundant enough? Because oftentimes when someone buys a car, buys a house, buys some clothes or some pocketbooks or whatever, they have to keep on buying them because it's not enough. It doesn't fill them up. So in a sense, we have to have the two work in unison so we can get to where we want to be. And that's typically a place where we can find joy and happiness. But we're looking for success today. So this is more of the career coach in me. When I'm working with people who are looking to enhance their career, yeah, sure, we look at happiness and things like that, but that's kind of like down the ladder a little bit or up the ladder a little bit, whichever direction you want to consider it. We are looking at, well, let's have the results first. And that is the measurable progress. Then we get into two, security and stability. This is so you can live the life that you want to comfortably. We look at the FIRE movement, people who want to retire early. Basically, what retiring early means for these people is they're looking for prosperity. It is because they would like to not have to worry about money. If they want to go off for somewhere, to like Mexico for 3 months, they can. They don't have to worry about going into a 9 to 5 job. And yeah, I work with so many people who are stuck in that rat race of that 9 to 5 job and they're looking for prosperity in their life. They're not looking for abundance right now. They're looking for prosperity. They're looking so they can have the security and this ability to do whatever they want. They don't want to have to worry about the next paycheck. They don't want to have to worry about losing their job. They want to have no worries when it comes to finances. And that can happen. There are some things that have to happen. We do have to maybe figure out different work ethics. We have to figure out if we're going on the right path. Are we profitable, the business, etc.? There's many different things when it comes to career coaching if we're looking at the security and stability aspect. But then we get into the empowerment aspect. And this is where many people get thrown for a loop because sure, achieving prosperity empowers you. What does that truly mean, right? I think of like the boss babes and the single moms and like, the women entrepreneurs and they don't want to have families. They just want to go make money and climb the corporate ladder. And I'm like, hey, more power to you, right? Because everyone gets to choose how they live life. Now, of course, we can look at the statistics and how many of the women who are going off and doing this have regrets later on. And they say, I would have liked to spend more time with my family. And even men, same thing, where they say, I would have liked to have more time with my family. And it's not everyone, because there's always going to be certain people who are like, I did this for my family, right? So they're thinking that their action is proving the love or proving their worth, when the reality is they just wanted your presence, they just wanted your time. So it depends on the dynamic, it depends on the situation. Everyone has a different situation. So I can't speak only to you about your situation, but what I can tell you, the empowerment aspect to it is how you feel after, or actually, it is what you're feeling and then how you feel after too. And the reason I say that, because I was just going to say after, because if you're doing something and you don't feel empowered, you're not going to continue it, because you're going to say things need to be changing. For example, let's say every day you're coming home late for work. And I remember I was reading this book, and it was this manager, like he was like the CEO of like a building, or like a plant district manager or whatever. He was basically having marital problems where literally his wife left him with the kids. And the wife just said, hey, I'm going to go stay with my parents for a little bit because I just need to figure out if this, is this marriage for me? So now we have left prosperity and abundance, and now we're dealing with marriage and family coaching. And you have to ask yourself, is that empowerment, right? Working and providing for your family, like, okay, I'm doing this for my family. Now, if you're single, then you don't necessarily have to work it or worry about that. But then you have to ask yourself, is that something you want to have long term? Because at some point, you're going to have to transition to being a mom or being a dad. And of course, you can pay off people, babysitters, and things like that. And I actually know people. I have clients who have nannies for each of their kids. If they have 5 kids, they have 5 nannies. And I'm thinking in my head, like, whoa, that's ridiculous. But I understand why they do it, because they don't want to be present as much, because they have other obligations that they would like to live in their life. So they want to be empowered, right? I feel empowered when I'm going into meetings and I'm doing these presentations and I'm flying around the world and I'm making all this money. I feel empowered when I do that. Maybe, right? I feel empowered when I step into my Rolls Royce or my BMW or my Mercedes Benz, right? I feel empowered. I feel empowered when I rent a big yacht, or I feel empowered when I rent this huge Airbnb mansion or whatever, right? You can feel empowered for all of these different things. But then you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, we're comparing it now to abundance. Is this going to make you feel abundant? Because I can tell you from experience that the people who have the most money, the most houses, the most cars, they're actually the most empty. And I ask myself, like, if you have all of these things, all this prosperity, right? Why are you so empty? Why are you not empowered when you should be empowered? And it's because at some point, we're not only looking at the things we have, but how we feel. And that's where abundance comes in, because they kind of work together. But when it comes to success, prosperity is going to say, hey, you got the house, you got the car, you're doing good. And it just depends on your focus, because maybe you say this to yourself. And I know quite a lot of people who do this. They say, I'm going to sacrifice 5 years of my life, or 10 years of my life, or 20 years of my life, or a lifetime, right? And I'm going to do this. And eventually, I'm going to have time for my kids and my wife and my friends and whatever. And before you know it, 65, you're old, you can't move the same, and you're ready to go live life, because now you're at that number two, security and stable. And you're like, okay, great. I can do this now. But you have lost your youth, you have lost the magic of life, do you still feel empowered? Maybe, right? Because you might have a bunch of people fawning over you. Maybe you don't have kids, you can go out, you don't need a babysitter. But at the end of the day, what do you want to live for? And that is truly what empowerment is. What do you want to live for? Do you want to live for yourself or do you want to live for someone else? And I have found, just from abundance speaking and mindset coaching speaking, the people who are truly empowered are the people who can go out, kick butt every single day, and come home and relax and be perfectly content with what they have. Because we're talking about success today. And I talked about my definition for success currently, and that is success is having everything and needing nothing. Or you can switch it. You can say success is needing nothing and having everything, whichever one resonates with you the most. If you can hold on to that feeling, you are empowered. Yes, you might live in a cabin, you might drive a beat up truck, but it doesn't mean that you're not successful. Most of the millionaires that I know, they wear t shirts, they wear the same polo every single day, the same loafers every single day, some jeans they got for $15 on sale. Hey, some people don't need to show their worth. Even rappers are catching on to this. Why in the world am I going to wear my wealth on my neck or in my teeth and stuff like that? I am already empowered. I feel good. People enjoy what I'm doing. I don't need to go out and present it again and again and say, hey, look at me, look at me. The world's already looking. Then we get into my most favorite part of prosperity because it's also linked really closely to mindset and abundance. Number 4, personal growth. Now, the reason I say this is because in order to be prosperous in life, you have to be able to grow. Winning in life does not come easy sometimes. You have to have long nights. You have to have the uncertainty. You have to go through the failure. When you can accomplish that, that shows what type of person you are. Because anyone can say, hey, I want to be prosperous. I want to win at life. I want to have a big house and all these cars. And they can literally be on their phone the next moment. Is that a person who's truly growing and developing? The people who truly want to change are seeking coaches. They're seeking help. They're reading books. They're reading blogs. They're literally immersing themselves to have that type of mentality. If you are just going to casually say, well, I would like prosperity in my life, and you don't have any action toward it, you won't have prosperity in your life. You might have abundance, right? Because abundance is more of a mindset, and we can easily, allow our mind to think abundantly. But the action part, the results part, the prosperity part for success, well, that's going to require you to get off your butt. It's going to require you to take some deliberate actions. It's going to require you to work on the hard areas that you don't want to work on, and it's going to require you to change if you need to have to change. Because if you're a person that is only getting B's in life and you want to get A's, you have to change something in order to get those A's. Do you have to study more? Do you have to seek a tutor? Do you have to ask a teacher for some extra help? We're trying to understand what I need to do to level up. And right now, if you are not living in prosperity, you need to level up. You need to find a coach, you need to find a mentor, someone that's going to be there to kind of, talk back and forth to you to see what you truly want and then develop an action plan. And this is what I love most about prosperity. Just looking at the blog once more, the prosperity versus abundance, choosing the path toward true success. We look at those areas and we look at the different methods and we talk about, what type of meaningful things and what type of patterns and what type of mindsets you need to have for all of this to work. And it's quite a bit. It's not something like, you go to IKEA and you get everything in a box and you just put it all together. And sometimes you're missing pieces and sometimes you have extra pieces. In life, it's almost like you have to get this pirate map and you have to find out where the X is and you have to go explore. And this is this big journey. Life's a journey. What type of journey are you willing to live again and again and again and again? Some people are very content with the journey of one time, right? I'll do this once. I'll do anything once. So if you start a business, and let's say your business is extremely successful, would you be afraid if you lost your business? Or if your business didn't do good one year, would that trouble you? Or would you say, well, I'm not tied to this business. I can start a new business. I can start a new career because I understand I did it, not the business itself. I created. You forget the person who has been the vehicle for all of this change and stuff to happen. It was you. So, yeah, sure, you can think abundant all day long. You can say, I'm just perfectly content with what I have. And sure enough, yeah, you can be perfectly content with what you have. But maybe you're not. Maybe you want some change. Maybe you want to have a different view in life. Maybe you want to be in the high rises looking down and, looking at the sunset and sunrise and going all over the world and meeting with all of the top executives in the world from Fortune 500 companies. And all of this can be done very easily. It requires you to look in the mirror and realize, all right, you are the proponent to that prosperity in your life. You are the person who's going to drive the results to get the goals that you want to reach, the places that you would like to reach. It's not going to happen simply wishing, simply hoping, simply waiting. Today is that call to action. Of course, you can read this blog again and again and again, and it talks about all the different things you can do to get that prosperous life, and they give you all the habits and the disciplines. And sure enough, all of that is great. But how many people read a book and they put it down and they never look at it again? How many people they do something and they're like, okay, I did it, and they have a certificate for it and they never use the certificate? There's too many instances for that in life today. There's so much going on where we get bogged down by everything, where we can't focus. So you need someone in your corner, a coach, a guide, a mentor, someone who's going to help you keep that focus. Because even if you are living that prosperous life right now, you are going to have so many hurdles along the way that's going to instill some new fears in you, or something that's going to test you. Because now, at some point, or maybe just the mentality is, I can't lose what I have because guess what? Everyone's going to see. I'm, currently I'm driving a BMW, and I don't want anyone to see me drive a Toyota Camry. Oh man, like that would be the death of me, because that can be the breaking point. Sometimes people need that breaking point to truly understand that prosperity can be taken away at any moment. Abundance, on the other hand, is going to be more difficult to take away. Of course, today we're looking at success. So at the end of the day, you get to define what success is for you, and then you get to choose, do you want prosperity or do you want abundance? You might decide to create a hybrid, and that's perfectly fine. When you create that hybrid, there's going to be pros and cons from both. You might not live in that mansion that will make your friends love you, but then at the end of the day, is that the end of the world? I don't care what my friends think about me. I don't even care what my family thinks about me. I know what I have to do in my life. And every single day, I'm going to keep on doing what I need to do. My identity has already been created. My determination has already been solidified. Of course, I always get help from other coaches and other mentors in my life because I understand guidance is the key to success. So prosperity might be the big house, the yacht, and feeling, big and good in my suit and stuff like that. You're like, yeah, I look good in my suit and my fast car. And sure, you look good in it. But what if the lights were off and no one was around? How would you feel about yourself? Would you feel good? Would you still feel like you were prosperous with all your stuff looking at you? Maybe. I encourage everyone to find out what that meaning in life is for you. Of course, be sure to like, comment, subscribe to stay up to date with all the new episodes we have talking about all the differences in our mind and in the world, because at the end of the day, your journey is going to be unique to you. And you have to be able to walk that path and feel powerful that you have walked that path. It's not something for the weak-minded. It's something for the person who's looking for something out of life. Because if you really think about it, you only have one life. So you better make the best of it.